Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix?
With the Wicks here on this beautiful Tuesday, December 21st, 2021, and welcome to the show, whether it be on Facebook or on YouTube. Now, this whole weekend of football has obviously been fucking, kind of whack. We have, games being played on Monday, yesterday, 2 of them, and then 2 tonight we have to get to. We have to talk about, dive into a little bit, but I mean, this weekend of football, I mean, it was absolutely brutal. People getting hurt left and right on hits that you're like, oh, he'll be fine. He'll get right back up. He'll walk away. He'll be just okay. Like non-contact kind of hits or like just smaller hits that really affected, the outcome of a lot of these games, a lot of these injuries. A lot of head injuries happened this weekend. Hopefully that is not going to be a point of emphasis for them to focus on, as it has already been a point of emphasis for quite some time, I'd say, in the NFL, where they're cracking down on, the helmets, what helmets you can and cannot wear, the different technology that goes into the helmets, and it's just, I mean, it is very unfortunate what we got to kind of witness yesterday, or not yesterday, I guess this entire weekend, with all these injuries that just kind of took place in a very odd fashion for the most part. But otherwise, other than the brutalness that kind of happened this weekend, there was a lot of good football games that took place. Like, the Patriots absolutely getting, destroyed by the Indianapolis Colts. And then you got the Cardinals getting fucking demolished. Tampa Bay somehow gets shut out by the New Orleans Saints, who are without their star wide receiver, or have been without their star wide receiver this entire season, and basically their star quarterback, Jameis Winston and Michael Thomas. They're not playing. And the Saints are really hit and miss this year, so shutting out the Bucs, that was kind of what the fuck? So we're going to dive into that as well. And then there's some other, decisions that had to be made that for the Ravens that at the time seemed like a what the fuck type of moment. But at the same time, there was a little soundbite that came out after that, and he kind of understood why he made that decision, or why John Harbaugh made that decision or I think it's John or Jim, one of the two. Mr. Harbaugh made the decision to kind of go for it there. And then you kind of look at the Browns-Raiders game last night, coming down right to the wire. The Browns basically got fucked over by COVID. And then last night, the final game that took place at 7:15, the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Chicago Bears, was an absolute shit show. It was a joke. It was a joke to watch that game. It was a joke to even be a part of the Minnesota Vikings at that point. I get it. We won. But at the same time, it's like, look, I'm a Vikings fan, and the refs gave us that game. A lot of horseshit calls, too many unsportsmanlike penalties. I mean, it was just a sloppy game right from the get-go. So we got a lot to dive into today, including tonight's 2 matchups that both take place at the exact same fucking time. But that's okay, because we're able to do the show now today, where yesterday I did do the show basically because, I got off work at 3, and then I have to do another work, which is, watch some fucking football. I could do this as well. But the game started at 4. Now, if the game started at 5, I would have had time to kind of dive in a little bit to kind of what happened, but you really wouldn't get the full extent of what I'm kind of trying to speak about, I guess, if you will. So let's get to the world of football, shall we? Are you ready to get your fix? So we're going to start right off the bat with that Patriots and Colts game that took place on Saturday. I was watching this game, bits and pieces. The beginning of the game I could really focus in, but I was with a couple buddies, had a couple cold ones. And, you start losing your train of I guess not train of thought, but you kind of lose. I guess you lose that too, but like you kind of lose focus. And oh shit, there's a game taking place right here when you have buddies you haven't seen in a while. You're kind of hashing things out, talking about different stories here and there and stuff. So it's a pretty fun one. But for the most part, I got to watch this game, and look, New England. They had really, really slow, methodical drives that really kind of screwed them over in the end. I mean, honestly, we're going to take a look at it right here quick. 27-17, they got demolished by the Indianapolis Colts. This game could have been way worse for New England. I mean, I'm talking Indianapolis Colts should have beat these guys probably 42-17 in all reality, or 41-17, because they obviously missed that extra point or whatever they did there. I can't really remember off the top of my head. It's been a few days since Saturday, obviously. But, I mean, just a sloppy outing from New England. Like, they tried to move the ball, but those slow, methodical drives actually helped the Indianapolis Colts defense, perform the way they performed. I mean, look at Darius Leonard right there, 10 tackles, 1 pass deflection, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble. It seems as if, like, every single time he's on the field and he's playing for the Indianapolis Colts, every game, it's kind of like all right, what the fuck's going to happen here today? Because Darius Leonard is a game changer. He goes out there, does these certain things that really, help the Colts win, help put the Colts in a position to win games. And he does it every single week. The man is a fucking monster, okay, for the Indianapolis Colts defense. And I think he is dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury, but that doesn't seem to be affecting him at all. He's going to be just fine. Maybe it's 100% healed. Who knows? But other than that, Jonathan Taylor ran all over the New England Patriots. I mean, literally all over. 170 yards and a touchdown on 29 carries. This man absolutely balled. And I'm talking, like, balled out. And you also see there, they didn't need a pass. And I think the Colts kind of took a little bit of what the New England Patriots had to do against, obviously the Buffalo Bills the other day. Or the other week, where it was just Mac Jones had 3 passing attempts. We'll look at Carson Wentz, only had fucking 12 passing attempts, 57 yards, and that's because the Patriots' defensive backs are phenomenal. J.C. Jackson's having a really good year. Kyle Duggar, he's having a really good year. All the other ones are playing pretty solid football for the most part. And what you kind of have realized in the past now, or in the past couple weeks, and now after this game, is that, look, New England's run defense is not all that it's hyped up to be. They can be good, yes, but they also can be very bad. And that's kind of what happened here during this game, letting Jonathan Taylor run for 170 yards on 20 carries. This man is now 3rd, I believe, in the MVP race. Not going to win the MVP. It's just that it's just not possible. Never going to happen. If it does, fuck yes, please. Like, I would love that, but it's just not something that's actually going to happen in the NFL. I don't see that at all, because this is a quarterback-driven league. Everyone needs that franchise quarterback, because if you don't have a quarterback, you kind of see, or you saw in the past, what kind of transpires if you don't really have, the greatest guy at quarterback leading your team throughout, weeks of the NFL season. So this was a very fun game to kind of watch, because New England had a chance. I believe at one point this game was 17-20. All right, and then the Colts finally put it away at the end of the game, and it was just like, all right, that's it. Time to go watch the Jake Paul fight, which, by the way, congratulations, Jake Paul. Phenomenal knockout on Tyron Woodley. Did not expect that to happen, but it happened. Good for him. I'm glad he's kind of established himself now. Like, put some respect on this fucker's name, all right? Just make sure Jake Paul, there are people going around saying, I think he rigs his fights and stuff like that. It's hard to do that. I think, especially, like, you have to pick the right moment. You have to make it look like it's not rigged. Like, this ain't rigged, okay? He went out there and knocked his ass out, like, plain and simple. But back to the Patriots game. Mac Jones didn't do terrible. He had 2 interceptions, like you seen there not so long ago. 2 touchdowns. They really couldn't get their running game going. The only sort of offense they actually could get going was Hunter Henry, in which he had 2 touchdowns as well. So the Patriots, they lose this game go to 9-5 on the season, where the Indianapolis Colts moved to 8-6, and now they have a legitimate chance of winning their division and solidifying a playoff spot for sure. Okay, because Tennessee Titans, in which we're going to get to here in a little bit, they also lost against the Pittsburgh Steelers in a fucking a weird ending. Just like a great play by Minkah Fitzpatrick in that game. Like I said, we're going to get to that here momentarily, but the Colts have a legitimate chance of winning their division. And at one point in the season, it was like, okay, there's no way this is going to happen. Then Hard Knocks comes out. Colts start performing a little bit better, have momentum on their side, start winning more ball games. Okay, they're on a good winning streak right now. Now they're sitting at 8-6, where I believe the Tennessee Titans are sitting in the same spot as the New England Patriots at 9-5, and they are in the top of their division. They lead their division. And this is going to be interesting to see kind of what happens here coming up in Week 16, because the Patriots have to play the Bills. That's number 1 seed versus number 2 seed in the AFC East. If the Bills win, Bills are back in first. If the Patriots win, well, obviously they stay first. They're not going to be first in the AFC, I don't believe, at this point. So that'll be a fun game as well. But the Colts, they have a powerhouse team. Well, I mean, I guess sort of a powerhouse team in the Arizona Cardinals. And I say sort of because let's get to the Cardinals and Lions game. The Cardinals played the Lions this week, went over to Ford Field expecting not really maybe a blowout, but I mean a decent win by a decent amount of points. They expected to come out here and get a dub early on. That was not the case. Let's just put it this way. The Cardinals got absolutely fucking demolished out there. Like, there was no hope for Arizona. They did not have DeAndre Hopkins, so maybe that was a reason. But they didn't need him. And I'll show you why here right now. 12-30 was the final score. But look at Christian Kirk. 9 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Had over 10 yards a catch. Last week, I believe DeAndre Hopkins only had like 30-some yards and a touchdown. So it's like they didn't really need Hopkins. They just didn't perform. They didn't play well. And Detroit, the last couple weeks, I guess literally probably throughout the entire season, have been playing their hearts out. Like, they love MCDC to the point where they're going to go out there and they're going to lay their life on the line for this dude because they buy into him. They buy into the culture. They buy into what's trying to be built in Detroit. The record, obviously not where they want it to be. Okay, at 2-11-1. It's better than the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's better, it's as hard as that is to say, it's better than the Jacksonville Jaguars. So now the Lions won't get the first overall pick, basically, obviously because of this win. But this is a big win. This is a big confidence booster. Okay, they go out, they beat the Minnesota Vikings. Then last week they have a little setback. They lose a game, and then they come. And then they come back. And they shit all over the Arizona Cardinals. Let them know that, hey, yes, we're an NFL team. No, we're not going to be beat by any college team. Don't even think about those scenarios because this is the NFL. We love our coach. We buy in. They hammered the Arizona Cardinals yesterday. Absolutely let them have a piece of their mind. Kyler Murray didn't do terrible. Could have stayed away from that the interception there. But Jared Goff, I mean, look at what this man is able to do. 216 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is starting to be that receiver that I expected that he was going to be during this season. Well, I guess not really this season, but in the future. I mean, he's their legit number 1 guy at this point the last couple weeks now. And he's really going out there and performing really, really well. 8 catches, 90 yards. And a touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals. Who would have thought that the Lions, the Detroit Lions, were going to go out there and just shit all over the Arizona Cardinals? Not me. Probably not you guys. But this is what the NFL is. This is what it has been the entire, 15 weeks that we've been in the regular season. It's literally been, here's your 2 teams, a good one and a bad one record-wise. All right, let's go with the good one. Let's see if they're definitely going to win. Like, there's no way in hell they're going to lose. And then all of a sudden, the team with the worst record's like, how you doing? We're going to come in here and we're just going to, beat your ass. And then we're going to keep moving or we're going to keep going forward. That's what the Lions did. The Lions have a lot of heart, and that game kind of showed me that. Like, okay, if anyone's calling for MCDC's, head, like, to fire him or and whatnot, like, you need to kind of shut your mouth a little bit, because that's not the case. I don't think I've actually heard that. I think a lot of these players in that locker room love what he's put in place, love the kind of culture he's trying to build, and really buy in to the Motor City Dan Campbell. I mean, this dude's crying during press conferences after a win. He's getting really emotional in the locker room after a win or a loss. And then, he wears a racing helmet to a press conference. This guy loves football. He's passionate about football. He's passionate about his team. And to go out there and literally give the Arizona Cardinals some work, like put work on them, 30-12, that's a big, big victory. Now you take the Arizona Cardinals out of first place, and you move the Green Bay Packers into first place, and we're going to get to them here in just a second. But this was a big, big win from the Detroit Lions against the Arizona Cardinals, where who knows what's going to happen next. The Lions have to play the Falcons coming up. That'll be a fun game to witness. Because I think the Lions are going to win it, but at the same time, the Falcons have shown some type of fight here and there every once in a while. Like, okay, Cordero Patterson, if he gets going, it's kind of hard to stop him. If Mike Davis starts going like a bowling ball, it's hard to stop him. The receivers, Russell Gage and Matt Ryan are on the same page. Like, we get it. Like, they're a tough team sometimes. But I think Detroit's probably going to beat them, move to 3-11-1 on the season. That we just talked about the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Colts, and which is going to be a big, big game for the Colts, because if the Colts win, the Titans lose, because the Titans have the 49ers next. And the 49ers are no joke. Like, they're a good team. They're a good team to play against. So it'll be interesting to see how Week 16 kind of goes from there. But now let's get to that Titans and Steelers game where I kind of brought up earlier, where it was kind of one of those moments where you were just like, damn, they really just did that to them. And by that, I'm talking, so at the end of the game, to end this game, the Titans were driving down. So the score was 19-13, which ended up being the final score. So the Titans were marching. They were close. They were about the 20, 25-yard line, like really close to the red zone, and about to score. And it was fourth down. The pass was made over the middle. He starts going, he gets right up. Like, here's the first down. Here's the guy. Like, he's basically here. Okay, first down. He catches the ball and he gets right about there, like literally, like right on the line, basically. And then some dude just fucking just tackles him, spins him behind the line, and at first you're thinking, did he get that first down? Like, did he? He might have got that first down. So they marked the ball. They put here's the first down, and they put it like right there. Looks like a first down, right? Looks really close. Looks like it's on the line. And the stick comes out. You know how they bring the sticks out to, measure, see if it was actually a first down. And here's the stick coming down in the ball. Hopefully you can see that space there. But it's not a first down. Game over. That's it. How you doing? Keep it moving. The Titans lose 13-19 in a stunning finish there in Pittsburgh. Tennessee Titans moved to 9-5 on the season. Pittsburgh moves to 7-6-1 on the year. So Pittsburgh comes out of last place, and the Browns kind of replaced them because they, yesterday they kind of lost in the last second field goal attempt or back-to-back field goal where they tried to ice him. It's not going to work because he's a good kicker. Browns, we'll talk about that here in a bit. But this game, they were fighting tooth and nail. TJ Watt is a fucking beast. Ben Roethlisberger scored a touchdown with 0 rushing yards, obviously because he had to fucking kneel the ball. And Tannehill played pretty solid. But Donta Foreman, you see there, 22 carries, 108 yards. This man, he just kept going. Like, this guy was just, every single time he was getting yards, he was making plays, he was causing chaos for the defense. He was doing his thing out there, performing to the best of his ability, playing really, really solid football for the most part. So that was a very, very fun game to watch. just because you never really knew what side it was going to land on, like who was going to win this game ultimately. Like you never really had a for sure thought like, oh yeah, Pittsburgh's going to win this, because if Tennessee goes down, and like we just noted with that first down, if they give him that first down, if Tennessee gets that first down, we're looking at a whole different ballgame. We're looking at Tennessee possibly tying the game, kicking the extra point, winning the game, and how you doing, keep moving. It's over. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was a good game. It was a barn burner. As much as the score, like as low as the score was, it was a decent overall game to kind of, to watch, I guess, if you will. I mean, it was kind of hard to pay attention as well a little bit, but at the same time, great finish for Pittsburgh and Tennessee. I mean, if you look at the replay now, you can kind of see like, oh yeah, he was definitely stopped short of the first down. Okay, it was not as close as where they marked it, because even in hurry up offenses, when like the players get the ball and they run it back and they quick shut it down, the ref's like, no, like you can't. They always give or take a couple yards up or down a little bit depending on the play. So with that play being as close as it was, they spun him around, and in reality, he was probably like, here's the first down line. He was probably about, I'd say maybe like that short. Like you kind of had a good feeling that he didn't make it, but they moved it up to basically like right about there. So they gave Tennessee a chance. They wanted to bring out the measurement, see maybe the possible. And it wasn't a first down, so that sucks for them. But Pittsburgh got a big win against the Tennessee Titans, where they now are kind of in the hunt to make a playoff spot, to potentially go and play in a playoffs for the second year in a row. But, I mean, this Steelers team, they got a lot of growing to do. This is Ben Roethlisberger's last hoorah, if you will. And, oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys caught this, but I caught it. I mean, it was big. It was a big part of the broadcast, so I'm hoping all of you guys caught this. But at one point, Tennessee was out on offense. Ben Roethlisberger was on the sideline, and he's kind of, walking, kind of sitting there, and he goes behind the bench. Okay, he takes his little stroll behind the bench, and then there's these stairs right where the stands basically meet, and there's these stairs going down. And he goes down just far enough to where, people behind him in the stands where they can't look down and see him and stuff like that, and he just sits down. And kind of just... Honestly, I think he just kind of soaks it all in, because I think it's slowly starting to hit him that, like, week 15, we're in week 15, we have 3 more weeks to go, might not make the playoffs, like, this is it. Like, this is my final ride. Like, I mean, like, this game that I've loved for so long and then played for so long and stuff like that, it's coming to an end. And it was a humbling experience to kind of watch and kind of, like, realize, like, yeah, it's about to be over for this guy. A guy who literally, in a way, okay, changed the game. Ben Roethlisberger, take in mind, is a guy that we're never, ever going to forget about. Probably a Hall of Famer. He's never, ever going to leave our memory. Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks. Terry Bradshaw, Ben Roethlisberger. And then, obviously, coming in the future, there's going to be more. There's going to be more franchise guys that come in. You're never, ever going to forget about Ben Roethlisberger. And I think he's kind of soaking that in, realizing, like, hey, this is all we got. This is it. And I hope the rest of his season goes well. I hope it goes as planned, because I think he needs that. And I think he needs that reassurance, like, yeah, I am, like, one of the greatest to ever play this game. One of, not the. That's this man. Even fucking though he found some way to get shut out. We're going to get to that in a bit. But hopefully Big Ben and the Steelers kind of go on their own little ride. It's not gonna end well. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs this year. They got a lot of issues, a lot of situations to kind of figure out. Like Chase Claypool pulling his head out of his ass, actually playing football instead of doing the TikTok. Juju Smith-Schuster not gonna be a Steeler next year. I could probably, I think I can confidently say that. I just don't feel like he's gonna be in that organization next year. So we'll see kind of where this goes from there. And the Titans, they got the Niners next week, but the Steelers got the Chiefs. That's a tough one. That's a tough matchup. If the Steelers find some way to win that game, we could be looking at the Steelers that are potentially going to, obviously make the playoffs or get into the playoffs and stuff like that. And that'd be something special to kind of witness for Big Ben, not so much the rest of the player. I mean, maybe the organization and stuff like that, but for sure for Big Ben. So now let's talk about Mr. Harbaugh's, I think it's John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh, his move to go for 2. The game is really close. It's at the end of the game. Somehow Green Bay took a little bit of a lead. The Baltimore Ravens come all the way marching back. They're really starting to put up a fight here and there. Tyler Huntley is absolutely amazing. There's going to be a lot of teams looking at Huntley for a potential quarterback, potential franchise quarterback in my eyes. I mean, this dude, he's a baller, man. He is a flat-out baller. He knows how to play football, and he does it really, really well. But they march all the way down. They score a touchdown. All they have to do is kick an extra point to tie the game, send it in overtime, hash it out there. They go for 2. Ball's thrown to Mark Andrews, Eric Stokes, fucking bam! See you later, the ball goes away, and it's over. The Ravens lose. In a game they should have won, or not should have won, in a game they needed to win, they just could not pull it together. They just could not pull it off. And everyone's like, "Oh, why'd you go for 2? You should have kicked the extra point. Like, that is, wow, like, analytics, dude. Like, come on, tie the game, go in overtime, win it there. Like, what the fuck you doing? Like, get him out of town. We don't want him." Then there was a sound clip that was posted. And it made me laugh, because it made me laugh for the reason that everyone that was harping on Harbaugh, everyone that was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Kick the extra point. Send it into overtime. Why would you make that decision?" I have a feeling that sound clip shut them up. Because I don't have it on here, but during the sound clip, Harbaugh said, "Look, during that drive, he brought everyone in. He's like, hey, so if we score here, he's like this. He's like, so if we score here, you guys want to go for 2, or do you want to kick the extra point and settle in an overtime?" And everyone kind of sat around him, and they were like, "I mean, yeah, we could." And then Mark Andrew comes over, and he's like, "So are we going for 2 if we score, or the extra point? I need to know. I need to know how confident you guys are." And they all said, Huntley, Mark Andrews, and I can't remember the other guy that was standing next to him, said, "Let's go for 2. Like, we can get this. Like, we're going to win the game." He also asked Huntley while Huntley was on the bench. I was just sitting there kind of looking over his film. "Hey, you want to go for 2 here the next day if we score a touchdown, or do you want to kick the extra point going to overtime?" And Huntley said, "Let's go for 2. He's like, Harbaugh said, "Are you sure? You want to go out and win this thing?" And Huntley's like, "Yes, sir. Like, we're going to win this. I got you." After that clip, it made me realize Harbaugh has so much confidence in his players, in his personnel, that it's not only his decision. What happens if he kicks the field goal, or kicks the extra point, they go into overtime and they still lose. They lose by a touchdown now. You're not going to be hearing the same, "Why did you kick the extra point?" Stuff like that. You'd be hearing other nonsense. Like, you could have won the game way back in the 3rd or something like that. Some bullshit. He left the choice up to his players because he's that confident in them. He has a lot of confidence in them. Do you want to go for 2, or do you want to kick the extra point? And they all said, "Let's go for 2. Let's win this damn thing. We got you, coach." Ultimately, they failed to do so. And right after, Mark Andrews comes up to Harbaugh. He's like, "Hey, that was the right choice, man." He's like, "That was the right choice." He's like, "I got your back. I love you," basically, type of thing. And, like, kind of gave him a hug and stuff. He's like, "We got your back. Don't worry about it. Like, that was the right choice to make. That was the right move." Because not only does that, show that he has confidence in his players, but that also shows that his players have his back, regardless of the decision that was made, regardless of the outcome that happened. This was a fun game. And if they would have put it away, think about how many Ravens fans and how many of the naysayers that said, "Why did you kick the extra point?" would be hip-hopping, cheering away, like, "Fuck yeah, we just beat the Green Bay Packers." Like, just hyped up, getting, really into it. Every single fucking Ravens fan would do that. But because it didn't happen, because they failed to make the 2-point conversion, everyone's like, why? I think they got to kind of take a step back and realize that they're not the head coach. They're not the players. They're obviously, like me, this is about me, they're a broadcaster. His opinion doesn't fucking matter. What he thinks doesn't matter. Just what I see, what I think, what I have. But after I seen that, because yes, right after the game, I was like, damn, he should have kicked the extra point. Like, it would have been an overtime, but at the same time, I was also like, okay, that was probably the right choice, because if you win it, you walk off in dramatic fashion. Everyone loves you. Everyone, believes in what the Ravens are doing and stuff like that. That'd be cool. And it didn't happen. Unfortunate. I'm glad, though, that soundbite came out of him asking his players, and his players confidently saying, "We're going for 2. Let's win this damn thing. All right, let's put them down. Let's just go get this win." And that didn't happen, unfortunately. But the Green Bay Packers beat the Baltimore Ravens 31-30, moving the Green Bay Packers to number 1 in the NFC altogether, and they are officially now the Kings of the North, even though True Identity Tuesday for last week, Green Bay, I said they're the Kings of the North already, because that was a give me, basically. Like, there's no fucking way Vikings are going to do it. And by the way, today is supposed to be True Identity Tuesday. We're not going to dive into that because we have a shitload to kind of talk about. That's why I, started earlier. They started 30 minutes earlier, because I wasn't for sure how much time I was going to need today. So we're not going to dive into True Identity Tuesday today, but we will do that. We'll do that tomorrow on True Identity Wednesday. How about that? All right. But back to this game. I mean, look at those stats, folks. Aaron Rodgers, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns. More impressively, Tyler fucking Huntley. Don't forget his name, because he's going to be a starting quarterback on some team next year. I hope he doesn't leave the Ravens. I mean, I hope he does, for the fact that he deserves a starting opportunity. But at the same time, I hope he stays on the Ravens, because him and Lamar are so identical that, it just blows my mind. Like, you want to keep him there. You want to keep, the same, so you can have the same playbook. You don't have to switch anything up. You don't have to be like, oh, fuck, we got to go to these plays instead of these plays, where you can just be like, oh, all right, well, he knows the whole playbook. He knows exactly how to run it. He can run it the exact same. And look at those stats. 215 yards passing, 2 tutties, 73 yards on the ground with 2 tutties as well. 4 total touchdowns for Huntley, and he almost walked it off. Mark Andrews catches that, it's game over. It's game over, 32-31. Ravens win. Then, of course, you'll go look at Aaron Jones. Nothing was happening on the ground for Green Bay. Baltimore's defensive front played phenomenal, stopping the run game, making Rodgers throw, making him throw it into tight windows. Marquez Valdes-Scantling played pretty solid on 98 yards and 5 catches and a tutty. Mark Andrews, though, was the main show of this game, folks. Besides Tyler Huntley, obviously, because he gets the ball every play. But Mark Andrews continues to prove why he's a top 3 tight end in the NFL. That's right, folks. Top 3. Not top 5. Top 3. And the reason I say that is because Darren Waller hasn't really, been making any noise lately. So we got to move him down. I'm not going to number off 1, 2, and 3. I'm just going to say the top 3 guys off the top of my head are Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and Mark fucking Andrews. You throw him the ball, he has about an 80% chance that he's coming down with it. And it just so happened that 20% chance on the 2-point conversion it happened to be a drop. So, that sucks. But 10 catches, 136 yards, had both of Huntley's touchdown passes. Mark Andrews completely balled out. It's just very unfortunate on the outcome in the situation that had to happen. But Baltimore is now second in their division, right behind the Cincinnati Bengals, who are sitting at 9-5. Or no, they're 8-6. The Bengals are 8-6. The Ravens are 8-6. But I think the Bengals beat the Ravens earlier in the year, so that's why the Bengals are currently in first place in the AFC West. I think. Yeah, check me on that. I don't know. But just an unfortunate series of events, an explosive, high-scoring, fun, exciting game, really to witness, to watch, to kind of dive into. How is this going to play out? You see Green Bay start trickling away with the lead, and then all of a sudden the Ravens come back, and we're looking at a fucking kick the extra point, tie the game, overtime. Or go for two, win the game, how you doing, keep it moving. We went for two, and it failed. It is what it is, but the Packers got the Browns next week. Packers are going to demolish the Browns, just how it's going to be. Browns they're in trouble. I mean, I believe that they're a team. Like they're a good team. They're not a great team. They're gonna get if they get to the playoffs, they're not gonna win. They might win one. They're not gonna walk their way to the Super Bowl. It's just not gonna happen. I honestly believe that. Then you're looking at the Ravens, who got the Bengals. So if the Browns lose, they're staying at last next week. And if the Bengals lose, the Ravens are back on first, and the Bengals are back, second place or something like that. So very unfortunate series of events there, but a very, very exciting game to watch for Green Bay and the Baltimore Ravens. So now let's get to this shitty guy right here. This shitty one. Not really. He's not shitty at all. I love me some Tom Brady. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got shut out 2 days ago to the Saints, 9-0. And boy, oh boy, I mean, that is... Oh, quick backtrack. So Aaron Rodgers, during that game, tied Brett Favre for the most touchdown passes in franchise history with, I believe, 442. You guys can check me on that if you want, but I believe that is what it is. But that being said, this is a tweet that I got to see. Aaron Rodgers matched Brett Favre's Packers passing touchdown record in 45 fewer games on 1,730 fewer attempts and with 193 fewer interceptions. 193 fewer interceptions. Oh my Lord. Like Aaron Rodgers he does not throw interceptions at all. Like it doesn't happen, okay? And we've talked about that last year, I think, when we first started doing this. I didn't know my head from my ass when I was doing all this, but he was really conservative, it felt like. He was always throwing the ball away. He was never taking chances. Now he started taking chances, and it's like, whoa. I mean, he can, because he's not going to throw an interception at all. I mean, like Kirky fucking did yesterday. That was an absolute fucking... My grandma could have got that. Like, why? Why throw that ball? I mean, ridiculous. It is what it is. But I just had to throw that little stat line in here. But back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting, shut out by the Saints, in which was the first time in Tom Brady's career that he's ever been shut out. Take in mind, Drew Brees and Peyton Manning were never shut out in their career. It doesn't tarnish the GOAT, title for Tom Brady, because the man has fucking 7 rings and 10 Super Bowl appearances, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 regular season MVPs. I mean, the list, you want me to keep going? Like, most passing yards ever in NFL history, most passing touchdowns ever in NFL history. I mean, like, what do you want me to say? Well, I mean, the dude's the GOAT, okay? But yeah, they lost. And the Saints seem to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' kryptonite. It seems as if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just cannot beat the Saints for whatever reason. I don't know why, but that just seems to be the case, especially these past 2 seasons. It was a shitty game to watch because there was nothing happening, like, at all the entire game. So that was awesome, I guess. But, yeah, terrible game. Terrible outing. Tampa Bay could not get anything going, like, at all. None of their plays were working, and that could be because, they did lose Mike Evans with a hamstring injury. They did lose Leonard Fournette to a hamstring injury. And he has been designated to IR, ending his season, I believe, or ending in the regular season. He can come back, I believe, for playoffs and stuff like that. And then they did lose Chris Godwin in what was once to be believed as a hamstring injury, now to be reported as a torn ACL, officially ending his season. And that sucks because he's playing on the franchise tag. He's going to be a free agent next year. I hope the Bucs bring him back. But if not, T's and P's to him, and hopefully he goes to somewhere that actually, that wants him and will use him in the right ways and stuff like that. So that sucked. They lose 3 of their starters. So they couldn't do anything. They had no passing game. They had no run game. And nothing was working. The Saints defense literally tore apart this Buccaneers offense. Made them their bitch, if you will. Like it was sloppy. And you see Brady take that tablet and he's looking at it. It's already fucking smashed, it looked like, and he just threw it on the ground. He's like, get this shit out of here. Like, I threw a game-ending interception. Could have had a chance, maybe, to win the game. Actually had multiple chances. Their offense could only fucking move 3 or 5 yards. Like, they weren't doing anything or anything like that. So, brutal game to watch, obviously. But Saints got it done. 9-0 over the Buccaneers, taking the Saints to 7-7. At the time, moving them into the 7th seed for the playoffs. The Bucs obviously go to 10-4 on the season, solidifying the Green Bay Packers' lead of the NFC. But you look there, Brady couldn't do anything. He's going to throw an interception every game. He looked like shit. Ronald Jones had to come in for an injured Leonard Fournette. Actually started picking it up a little bit. I can't remember how many receiving yards he had at the top of my head. And then Godwin, obviously, there too, was their leading receiver before going out with 49 yards. So, yeah, that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers there for you. And then you look at Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's a guy. But he struggles when you get into the red zone, when you get close to the end zone. 13 of 27, 154 yards, 33 yards on the ground. Alvin Kamara, they missed him in a big way, and he came back last week. Unfortunately, didn't do as well as we hoped, and failed. Okay, had 31 total yards. That's receiving and running. Only had 2 catches running. 2 catches, only had 11 rushing attempts. So it was a slow, methodical paced game where nobody could get anything going, like at all. Like it just wasn't happening. It was a boring ass game. But the reason we're talking about it is because that big old fucking 0 you see over there. First time that Tom Brady's ever been shut out in his career. Sucks, but it has to happen. And Marquez Callaway, I like this dude. For sure a number 2 receiver on any NFL team, but not a number 1 in my eyes. I think this guy's a little bit more growing to do, or a little bit more, growing to do, getting better, perfecting his craft a little bit, and he could be a top receiver in the NFL one day. I honestly believe that, because he goes out there and makes plays left and right that you're just like, okay, well, no normal chump is going to go do that. But good overall game, I'd say, for the most part. But like I said, shitty one. It was, nothing was happening offensively for both teams. The Saints just happened to get the edge. Tampa Bay couldn't get into the end zone for whatever reason, or they couldn't kick a field goal for whatever reason, so that's just unfortunate. But the Saints, they got the Dolphins coming up on Monday Night Football in Week 16. Dolphins are going to win. Okay, that's just what's going to happen. They're just going to knock the Dolphins. That's going to be a fun game, because the Saints could definitely win that game. The Dolphins, though, look, they're on a 7-game win streak right now. 7 fucking games. No, wait. 6 games, 6-game win streak. Ridiculous. Things are starting to come together. At first, at the beginning of the season, we're all like, get rid of Brian Flores, this defense, garbage. Xavier Howard whined about getting his money, didn't get his money. But, oh, shit, they're playing really solid now. Defense backs are flying around, making plays. Their offense, Tua, is he the guy? I don't know if he's the guy, okay? And then, 6 straight wins later, you're like, he could be the guy. He shows some potential. Jalen Waddell really didn't do nothing at the beginning of the season. Comes out, has an amazing last couple weeks. Dolphins are playing good football, so the Saints got them next week. And the Bucs got the Panthers, a division matchup. Panthers fucking suck. Cam Newton, your NFL career is probably over. Okay, I think you got to accept that. You're 0-12 in your last 12 starts with the Carolina Panthers. You and PJ have to flip back and forth. Who's going to be the guy? Definitely not Cam Newton. None of them, nobody buys into any of the quarterbacks they got in that room. Kind of makes you wonder, did they make the wrong decision? They bring in Teddy Bridgewater last year. They ship his ass out. Bring in Sam Darnold. Like, why? He isn't cutting it, but he gets injured. He's gone, so he's on the IR. And then you're like, oh, we got P.J. Walker. Let's play with P.J. Walker. He really doesn't satisfy your needs for the most part. And you see Cam Newton still in free agency, and you're like, let's go bring him back. And then you got that whole back type of stuff. It's just like, what is going on in here? Like, this is shitty team. Shitty stuff to kind of go about. But let's get moving over to last night's, the first matchup of yesterday's game. That started at 4 p.m. Central Time here, at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But the Raiders taking on the Cleveland Browns. This was a good game. Went right down to the wire. But ultimately, the Raiders ended up winning against the Cleveland Browns. 16-14, sending the Raiders to 7-7 on the season. The Browns to 7-7 as well, but that sends the Browns basically all the way down to last place. Okay, now basically, I don't know why I keep saying basically, but look, the reason the Browns lost this game, and it could have been different. I don't know if they were all here, or if they would have all been there, but COVID really lost this game for the Browns. The NFL tried doing them a favor, which is nonsense in my eyes, because at the beginning of the season they said if you have any COVID outbreaks and you don't have enough players to play when it's your time, you have to forfeit that game. But the NFL is a billion-dollar company, wants to make their money, doesn't give a shit what other people think. Go back on their word and say, let's move this game. Give the Cleveland Browns a chance. They gave him a chance. The Browns fucked it up. They lose 16-14. What else do you want me to say? Nick Chubb should have been involved more. 91 yards, could have been 150. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 4 catches, 48 yards. Should have been 5 catches for fucking 90 yards. But the dude dropped the plane open, fucking dropped it in the basket. Okay? Hold on to that ball. The guy just barely swatted it and it comes out. That's a fucking first down. That's your opportunity. Do you make this a fucking 21-16 game? You win the game. Didn't happen. Donovan Peoples-Jones needs to be held accountable for that. Logan also said that yesterday while we were texting during the game, and he was like, Donovan Peoples-Jones, he doesn't understand that it's a must-win ball game. Like, he needs to pick it up. Like, he needs to do something better. And he couldn't do anything. Josh Jacobs had a pretty decent night. He's been kind of, missing. He's been kind of, not doing the greatest the last couple weeks there, but 52 yards on the ground, 42 receiving. Didn't do terrible. Derek Carr didn't do terrible as well, but there were some situations that were really okay, why did you do that? Like, Derek Carr, you're looking a little sloppy right now. A lot of delay of games, just a lot of unfortunate series of events for the Raiders, but they ended up hanging on, and they're lucky to have Daniel Carlson, who, by the way, the Minnesota fucking Vikings released because he couldn't make one fucking field goal for us, so we just got him out of town. And he signs one of the richest kicker contracts in history or something like that, and he's just booting the ball, making kicks left and right, made back-to-back field goals after the Cleveland Browns decided to ice him. Didn't need to call that timeout. He's going to make it anyways. That's just how this kid is automatic when he goes out there. Automatic. He's going to kick it. He's going to make it, and that's just how it goes. Sucks for the Browns, but after that loss, you got to wonder if what's got to happen here? Who do they go get in the draft? Do they go get a wide receiver? Jarvis Landry wasn't playing. So if he's added to the mix, do they win this game? Do they add a corner to, put more pressure on the opposing receivers? I don't think that'd be my option because they don't need one. They got enough. They just got to play a little bit better. They're only second and third year guys. They need a linebacker. I honestly do believe that. Their defensive front is just fine. Maybe a D tackle, but at the same time, you wouldn't really need one of those. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the problem is in Cleveland. It's all talk. This is a good team on paper, but in reality, you know what this team or who this team reminds me of? The Minnesota Vikings. We look awesome on paper. Okay, we got some studs here and there. Okay, we should be just fine. Like, we're gonna have a good season, really good season. And then you go through the season. We're sitting here after week 15. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is what you gave me for this season. 7-7. That's all you can do. Probably should have won more games. They literally remind me of the Vikings. They're good one week and they're shitty the next. They got to find that happy medium and start winning more ball games on a regular basis. They got to realize the big moments are the ones that matter. And December football matters. Every single week that's in December is a playoff game. You have to play like it's a playoff game. Because if you don't, you're going to be in trouble. Especially if you are in the playoffs. Especially if you do make the playoffs, you're in trouble because then you're kind of complacent. You're not going to be doing all the right things, and it's just going to be a mess. And that's what the Browns have. Browns are a mess. They're the Minnesota Vikings to a T. They're identical. We got to figure it out. I hope we do. I hope the Browns do. But look, the Browns got the Packers next week, and the Raiders got the Broncos. So what does that tell you? It tells you the Browns are going to get their ass beat. The Raiders have a chance. So that's that game. Let's go to last night's fucking shit show of a game. The Minnesota Vikings taking on the Chicago Bears. Now, look, before we get going on this one, I'm going to say this so that whoever's listening and whoever wants to, try to call me out and stuff, that, even though that doesn't happen. But I'm a Vikings fan. I mean, obviously, right? I mean, what else do you want me to do, okay? I'm a Vikings fan. But I'm going to be the first to tell you, last night, we only won the game because of the refs. Only won the game because of the refs. I think going into the fourth quarter, the Minnesota Vikings, or going into the third quarter, something like that, the Minnesota Vikings had 2 penalties for 15 yards. The Bears had 8 for 90-some yards. Unsportsmanlike penalty after unsportsmanlike penalty after unsportsmanlike penalty. It just... And then Blake Lynch comes off, and Justin Fields is running and he's scrambling, and puts a fucking knee down. The knee barely touches. And Blake's going to go after the tackle because that's what a normal fucking football player would do. Because, A, he doesn't know he's down and he's already committed. He's going to go hit him. Fucking hits him. Unsportsmanlike conduct or unnecessary roughness, defense, number blah, blah, blah. It's a 15-yard penalty. First down. It was a very shitty game to watch. It was boring the whole time. It's penalty, 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 penalty. And you know what? I'll read you this tweet. Robert Quinn, I deleted it. Robert Quinn said it perfectly. He said the refs controlled that game, and made the game way too much about that. They policed it way too much. Now, there were some things, obviously, that, definitely shouldn't happen in a game, like fucking their, what's his name? Something Tevin or Blake, or I don't even remember his first name, but he was a rookie. He was a draft, or he's a rookie this year. I don't know why that was so hard to get out of my fucking mouth, but he was a rookie this year from Oklahoma State. He comes over, they say some words, he tries to turn around, comes back, and shoves the guy in the helmet. Could have gone both ways or whatever. I get it. He's fighting for his guy. But this is a chippy game last night. The Bears-Vikes do not like each other. And Akeem Hicks is an absolute psycho. The man is a very, very good football player. Every time he is on the field, you gotta be quick. You gotta be quick and nimble on your feet, because if he gets his arms extended on those offensive tackles like they were talking about the whole game, he's going to make you his bitch, and he's going to get around you, and he's going to sack the quarterback, or he's going to hit the quarterback, or he's going to put a hurry on them. Akeem Hicks dominated, and it's unfortunate they didn't get the dub. But, my Minnesota Vikings did, because skull, baby, that's why, all right? 17-9 was the final score, Minnesota Vikings. moved to 7-7 on the season, putting them and taking the Saints out of the 7th spot of the playoffs, putting them back in the fucking hunt. And then you put the Minnesota Vikings, who were in the hunt, got a dub, and moved them right into that 7th spot for the playoffs. So let's keep that going. And by the way, all these announcers, the Vikings basically got to win out if they want to make the playoffs. Shut your mouth. No, we don't. Like, look at our schedule. We're lucky if we get one more win. We got the Rams. And then we got the Packers. And then we got the Bears. We're going to be Bears. I just know we are. Like, it's just going to happen. Especially U.S. Bank and stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, you got to also put in mind, I mean, there's the fucking Eagles, the Saints, the Washington football team. There's multiple teams that if they start losing and we start winning, we have a chance, okay? There's always a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Yeah, there's a chance, okay? But overall, I mean, look at Kirk. 50% completion percentage, 87 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Dalvin Cook being Dalvin got over 1,000 rushing yards. I believe he's over 1,200 scrimmage yards, which is his 3rd straight season doing so. So congratulations to him on a hell of a fucking career so far up to this point. Can't wait to see where it leads him in the future, but 89 yards. Justin Jefferson, basically these 4 catches, 47 yards and touchdown was the first drive where they were afraid to cover Justin Jefferson. Legitimately afraid. Every time somebody was above him or on him or covering him or whatever, they were like 10 to 12 yards off of him. Like pretty much saying, all right, do your thing. You can't do that. They started cleaning that up, obviously, in the second half, so he really wasn't much of a factor. But he did his due diligence in that fucking first quarter where I was literally laughing. Like, they don't want to guard Justin. Like, this is brutal. Very, very brutal. Justin Fields, he did his thing, did all right, 285 yards, a touchdown. And David Montgomery, there was one point where they took him out for quite a while. It was almost the same scenario as when Jacksonville Jaguars decided to fucking bench James Robinson after fumbling. It was kind of the same situation where Khalil Herbert was getting more of the attention. And the announcer, I can't remember which one of the 3 said this, but they basically said, why is Khalil Herbert getting snaps? Like, David Montgomery is your starting guy. He should be in there because David's one of those running backs that he needs reps to get going, to really get hot, start making, plays move. And it's like, yeah, obviously, like, he needs to be in the ballgame. What the fuck is Matt Nagy doing? And he's not doing much. Matt Nagy, probably going to lose his job at the end of the season, if I had to guess. He's not that great of a play caller. He assumed that role yesterday after one of his offensive coordinator and others got COVID or got this new Omicron variant or whatever it is. And what's the T's and P's to them? But he cannot call offense. He's garbage. Okay, 17-9. It was just very apparent that Matt Nagy is not the guy. Okay, not anymore. It's just brutal. But Justin Fields seems like he's going to be their franchise guy. I'm really glad. I'm excited for that because, I mean, we've seen the history of Ohio State quarterbacks. It just has not been good in the NFL. Okay, and Justin Fields is I think he's gonna succeed. I think he's gonna have a really, really good career. Not only in Chicago, wherever else this wonderful sport of football takes him. So that was a fun overall game. So let's take a glance over the other games' results from Sunday, from Sunday only, before we jump into tonight's previews. So here we got the Carolina Panthers, who suck. Okay, this was going to happen. Bills are going to win 31-14. And then you look over there at Jacksonville Jaguars against Houston Texans, 30-16. The Texans got the dub. And look, I said this to John and said this on the show. I said, historically, when a head coach gets fired and the interim head coach has to step up, you have to usually you usually bet on that guy. You usually bet on that team with the interim head coach. After all that nonsense with the Jacksonville Jaguars, it was hard to pick with them or pick for them. I mean, I picked the Houston Texans on this one, so good for them, good for Houston Texans, and Davis Mills is a guy out there. The Miami Dolphins continue their win streak in close fashion, 31-40 or 24. That game was literally close the entire way, so good for the Dolphins. The Bengals and the Broncos. Bengals got the dub, 15-10, and it was just it was one of those games where you're just like, or it's one of those games where, like, you know, when you get like I don't know, you're a blind food test or whatever, and you just take a bite. You're like, okay, yeah, I'll eat that shit. And you take another bite of something else, and you're like, oh, the fuck was that? I don't want that shit. That's basically what it was. It was a barn burner, 15-10. I don't know what else to say. Jamar Chase couldn't do anything. Joe Burrow couldn't do anything. Fucking Teddy Bridgewater, and I'm teasing peas to Teddy. I love Teddy. I actually have the man's jersey. So, I mean, look, this is for you, Ted. Keep it up, T's and P's. We need you to get well. It was just unfortunate event that took place, and he has been released from the hospital. He's being evaluated for a concussion. It does not look like he's going to be able to play this upcoming Sunday. So hopefully he's all good and ready to go in 2 weeks. But then you look at the Cowboys-Giants. Cowboys controlled that entire game, beating the Giants. The Giants had nothing to do. Mike Glennon, not the guy you wanted. Quarterback, the dude, not the greatest. And then San Fran beating the shit out of the Atlanta Falcons 31-13. So those are the other games from around the NFL. But tonight, we have two matchups. One being the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Los Angeles Rams, which starts at 7 on Fox. And then the other matchup being the Washington football team taking on the Philadelphia Eagles at 7 as well. Okay, I don't know why they did the same fucking time. But it is what it is. And that's also on Fox, so we'll figure out how to watch that game. Well, let's get right to it, shall we, huh? The Seattle Seahawks are taking on the Los Angeles Rams, where the money line currently sits at plus 240 for the Seahawks and minus 300 for the Rams. The spread right now is currently in favor of the Rams. The Rams are favored by 7 points. Seems like a lot. The over-under in this game for points is 46.5, but that 7-point spread seems like a lot because the Los Angeles Rams are dealing with a little bit of a COVID bug, okay? Just like the Washington football team was. That's why this game had to get moved. And just like the Cleveland Browns were. That's why that game fucking got moved as well. They are going to be without right tackle Rob Havenstein, tight end Tyler Higbee, strong safety Jordan Fuller, but linebacker Von Miller has officially been activated, will play tonight. And for the Seattle Seahawks, they are going to be without Tyler Lockett and Alex Collins. So if you have DK, put the man in. He hasn't made noise at all the last couple of weeks, but expect him to do something tonight. I think the Rams are going to struggle. No, not the Rams. I think the Seahawks are going to struggle in this game, and that's why I had to pick the Rams for this one. On Fantasy Football Friday, just as well as Logan and I believe John did. As well. So this is going to be a fun one. Really don't know what else to expect other than that 7-point spread seems like a lot. I think it's going to be a closer game than that. I think we're looking at a 3-point, maybe 6-point deficit going into this one. Seahawks, they're trying to make sure they don't lose. They're trying to make sure they don't have a losing season. If they lose tonight, this will be the first losing season under Russell Wilson in his career. And I think the Rams know that, and I think the Rams are going to go out there and they're going to piss pound. They still got Cooper Kupp. They still got Matthew Stafford. Their defense, for the most part, is healthy. I believe Jalen Ramsey's going to be playing. I believe Aaron Donald's going to be playing. I got Rams. Okay, the Rams are going to win. So there's the spread, minus 7. And the other game tonight is the Washington football team taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. The money line currently is plus 225 for the Washington football team, minus 275 for the Eagles. And the Eagles are favored by 6.5 points. Let's fucking go. We need that shit, especially if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan. We need Washington to lose. Hammer that now, please. Like, let's go, Vikes. We need this. Our Eagles, whatever the hell. But, yeah, if Washington wins, they're in the 7th seed, and we are currently back into the hunt. If Washington loses, hey, that just helps us out a little bit, and the Eagles will stay in the hunt, obviously, because of points. I don't even remember why or what the tiebreaker is at this point. I think it's point differential. I don't know how they go about that. But the over-under for this one is 41.5. I like that 6.5 spread, basically because Washington, they're out with a lot of people. A lot of people are out in their organization with COVID, especially this new Omicron variant, which, by the way, you're going to get it. Okay, you're going to get it, regardless of your vaccination status or not. Just be smart when you do get it. Stay home. Isolate. Get rid of it. And move on. It's how it's going to be for a long time. Like, we get it. This happened before, and this time it's happening with no symptoms. So get over it. It's the way it is. And also on this game, back to this game, I should say, Garrett Gilbert, T's and P's to him, but he is going to be the Washington football team starting quarterback. So if that says anything, I think that says awesome for Minnesota fans. I think that says shit for Washington fans, if you will. But Philadelphia, you have Jalen Hurts starting. So I think this spread maybe should move up a little bit, maybe to like 7, 8 points, something like that, because I think Philadelphia is going to take this one. It's going to be a fun one, up to half, and then I think you're going to see Philadelphia start running away with the ball game. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for sticking along this journey. I think we've been going for, fucking an hour at this point. That's awesome. I love it. It's great to do this every single day. We hit every game from Sunday. We hit the 2 from yesterday, and we hit the 2 today. So I'm going to go get ready for some football. Hope you guys are doing the same. We'll be back here tomorrow to dive into true identities and kind of give you what I believe some of these teams' identities are, or what we have figured out up to this point. Some people clinched the division, others not. So we're going to dive into that tomorrow, and we'll do that at 6 p.m. Central Time, like always, because there is no fucking games tomorrow. Hopefully. I mean, that would just be weird, but it's not going to happen already, okay, because Week 15, last game's tonight. So go enjoy the rest of your night. Watch the Rams, Seahawks, and the Washington football team and the Eagles. Should be a couple good ones. Both start at 7. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And you just got your fix with the Wicks. Thank you guys, and have a great one.